Everybody say blessed.
Love,
I was
love,
now, you talking about a New Beginning national anthem on youth on fourth Sunday? That youth praise team gonna sing that every
late in
fourth
the
Sunday.
midnight hour.
I don't care who led it. Brittany,
That's the
Errol,
sun
Jarrell.
and
I don't care
around.
who. I don't care who led it. They
Love,
everybody say
and
bless.
bless.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to tell you.
Brittany Harvey and Simone Robinson. I think her married name is Bowers. Are my two favorite in New Beginning praise team leaders.
They're just two favorites from New
Period.
Beginning.
Right. Love them. Shout out to Brittany and Simone. We love you. Do you guys still know a lot of people that attend New Beginning?
Pretty much all the people I know in Atlanta is from New Beginning. You should be asking me, do I know anybody from school? No. And I went to 3 schools there, elementary, middle school, and high school. I don't know none of them niggas. But church, got all
Do
of them.
they still attend?
Yeah.
New Beginning?
Say it
If
again.
you was
I'm saying, do they still attend New Beginning?
That's
my question.
A handful of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
Okay. All like your friends' parents. Like, are they still faithful members at New Beginnings?
A good handful of them.
Yeah, some of them are. I would say more are than aren't, but yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's actually like the kids who are at different churches and the parents.
Yeah, the parents are kind of more still there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, Janessa, I guess it's on you to say the magic words.
Boom shakalaka.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Worst Ones podcast. My name is Rudy Wilson. We got Janessa Rowland. We got Kellie Lee. Terry Wayne is absent today, but we are holding him down.
In spirit. He's here in spirit.
In spirit and in truth. Amen.
Amen.
We are preacher's kids. That is why we are here. We have a podcast, and we represent all of the ones who are stereotyped as the worst ones all over the world, even if you are not. So, let's start with how our days have been going. Janessa, how art thou?
Thou art pretty good. Ozone season's over. Woo, it's done. It ended last night at midnight.
What did you put on your social media? You said a metaphorical fall. What you called it?
So today, ozone season for me ended August 31st. Today, September 1st, is meteorological fall.
Oh, okay. Meteorological.
So, yeah, you have like your solstice, which happens, I think, the 22nd of September, which is where, most people think of fall. But in meteorology world, fall starts September 1st.
Okay. Got you.
But I also have some sad news to report, guys.
Oh, man.
Not another ghetto garden tragedy.
Ghetto garden.
Oh,
man. Ghetto garden. It's a lot of it's my fault because I kind of stopped working with her with so much passion. But guys, 5 more watermelon bit the dust.
You're really acting like the government towards the ghetto in real life. This is how they treat. They just keep letting them die and don't even do anything to fix it. You are.
So it was a combination of some things. The biggest thing was they got too much water because it was rain. It's been raining in Atlanta so much.
Yeah, it was pissing here today. I ain't gonna lie.
Whatever before Ida, I can't remember if it was Fred maybe. That one we got a lot of rain.
Betty,
who knows? But yeah, they got too much rain, and I should have covered them or moved them. Tried to control the water situation. But then the second thing I found out, of course, after the fact, is that they weren't getting enough calcium. So I need to, next year, make sure they get their supplements. I guess fruits need vitamins too. I'm just saying.
I thought they provided their own vitamins.
I was like, the water, the sun, y'all don't, the soil, I gotta do extra. But
so how many watermelons do you have left?
One. And it's actually the biggest one I've had. The one y'all saw, I'll try to get a picture of it.
It's the biggest one because it's the only one. That's it is the last of the dying breed. Okay.
It was the biggest one, period. Maybe y'all can see.
That's adorable.
Oh wait.
It went out. You
gotta keep it alive.
You gotta look, Kelly. She's showing the watermelon. Wait, but what was the size of the other ones? That's a pretty good size for
that one's pretty. The other ones were like, if you've ever seen like a personal size watermelon at the grocery store, they're not the big ones. They're just kind of round. Mm-hmm. They kind of look like that, but they weren't that. I don't know. It wasn't that like particular kind. Like Sugar Baby is that small size particular kind. I was trying to grow the big ones.
Right.
So even though it was that size, it was supposed to be bigger.
For sure. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
We're just gonna put our faith in that last one and see what happens.
It's ready to be eaten.
Well, the tendrils, the things that like it connects to the grass to kind of secure it, it'll turn brown. That's one of the signs.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'll show Kelly real quick since she missed it.
I didn't say it. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest one.
Is it as big as it looks, or is your phone kind of giving us like the side mirror on the car, like the image is not as close as it appears type thing?
No, it's pretty substantial.
Okay.
Here's the other four that bit the dust.
Lord have mercy. You should have a ceremony.
All right.
Man, they've already been in the trash for about a week now. Trash heaven.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, Kelly Lee, what's popping?
I had a wonderful day. I had a wonderful day. Can't complain. It started off well. It ended well. I can't well, no, I think I broke my Apple Watch, so that's not good, but I'm trying not to be too dramatic about it. I'm trying
to stay cool. Because
I did have a really good day. So I'm trying to have my really good day. We'll say all of my good times outweigh my bad times.
You gotta move your hand from me.
I'm sorry.
You was I'm having a great day.
All of my good days and times outweigh my bad days. I won't complain.
Amen.
So that is where I am today.
Gotcha. You know, that Apple breaking of anything, whether it's iPad, laptop, watch, phone, it's a very sensitive thing with people. Like I've literally seen. I was at a skating rink a couple years ago, and I seen a girl who I know who was there with us with the group. Like she was getting ready to fall. Like it wasn't she couldn't break the fall. Like she was going to fall. She was standing in place. It wasn't like she was going nowhere. She was getting ready to fall, but literally. Somehow, as she was going down, she was able to like keep herself up just long enough to get her phone out of her back pocket at the last second, right before her butt hit the ground. And I was like, "You're not even gonna try to save yourself?" Like she was doing everything to get her phone out the back pocket. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, man, it's crazy, and the prices are crazy. I have a really, really old model of Apple Watch, so they don't even think they repair mine. But I was looking at the cost to repair an Apple Watch, and the cost to repair it is more than the cost of mine at this moment anyway. The cost to repair a new one. So I probably just need to buy a whole new one.
For sure.
What phone do you have, my friend?
That's what they want.
Phone 8. But I'm talking about my watch. I got a Series 3.
Okay.
So I got it Christmas like 3 years ago.
That's what they want you to do. They don't want you. They don't want you to be able to. We ain't fixing old stuff. Get the new stuff.
Right. So they won't even fix it. And then, like I said, to fix the newer models is like $300. I can buy this same model now for like $200. But of course, I would upgrade. So I can't live without my watch. It is how I get my workouts done. And they do. It's how I burn my calories. I get my workouts done. I am addicted to it. If I cannot get it to work tonight, then I'll be at the Apple store tomorrow.
300, easy.
Right.
Gotcha.
Easy. Good thing it's the first of the month.
First of the month. That's real.
It's the first of the month.
That real.
Right.
When I was in the Army, we used to get paid twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. I definitely love the 15th check. I used to just pay everything on the first. So I used to be broke on that first check. The second one, everything on me. Everything on me. Anywho, all is well with me. I'm in Tampa. I'm in the podcast studio. I was just like put a little padding up there. This the couch y'all seen before, I'm sure. But
I was going to ask you, what is that? But is that it looks like I couldn't tell if it was real or not.
Oh yeah, it's real. Oh. You thought it was like a
bookshelf, like a.
Well, I mean, it's
now like, these
are individual like pads, like it's like it's wall decor, Yeah, so I'm still deciding on the color. I'm not sure if I like the color or not. Okay. I don't know how does it look.
You can host baby showers.
There you go.
Baby reveals, gender reveals.
Gender reveals. It ain't no smoking nothing. I just point. I just close my eyes, whichever one I touch.
Right. I'm not pregnant.
Nothing. She's trying to trap you. It's a lie.
You are not the father.
Right. What happened when you
yeah.
Man, how you gonna say that? But you close your eyes and touch behind you. God steers me. I never tell you. It never leads me wrong.
You gotta pray, touch the baby first, and then touch the stomach, and then go.
That ain't yours. That ain't yours. I'm signing that birth certificate. All right.
But no, it looks nice.
It's cool. I'm still deciding on it. All right. Anywho,
German chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm.
From Pizza Cake.
Mm-hmm. Today is Chris and I's anniversary, and he got me some cake.
Now look at you working on your anniversary.
Right. Oh, how beautiful!
Well, happy anniversary, Janessa.
Thank you.
Why you didn't tell us?
How long anniversary this is?
11 months.
Wow.
Almost a year.
Y'all banging it out, ain't you?
I see you. I see you.
What's the longest relationship any of y'all ever had? Just give me the year. You ain't got 3 years, 4 years, 1 year, 2 years, a month, however long. It don't matter. I mean, for me, I ain't never had more. I just get my anniversary. Y'all kind of hesitate. Like straight through, probably it always go like probably like 7 months straight through, and then the rest of it is off and on. And that's always been probably, I think the longest maybe a year and some change. I don't even know if a year and a half I've had as far as a relationship. A year and some months. That's the longest I've had.
I would say like 2 years. But when I look back on it, I would say it was more of a situationship,
right,
than a relationship. I don't know if that counts.
Right. I said a real healthy adult relationship, 0 months.
There you go. There you go.
Kellie, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the 0 months. I was not expecting it.
There you go.
0.
Never has happened. Gotcha. All right.
Not a healthy adult relationship. Like I said, I had some situationships, not for something real. Nope.
Well, I mean, in that case, I'll be 0 too. I mean, I think if you kind of look at relationships hindsight, like, but I'm saying while I was in it, I would give it credit for just say the year and whatever. But like me looking at it now, I would agree. Like I'm at 0 as well because all that was some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Every single bit of it. Every single bit of it. So if we're talking about the BS too, probably about 9 months to a year, kind of dependent. Yeah, but gotcha. But that was nothing. I haven't had a relationship.
Gotcha.
That's how I kick it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Say no more. All righty. Well, let's get into the topic for today, shall we? Let's make this a podcast. So, today I guess I will present the topic in Terry's absent. The question I want to ask is should, and I put it in all caps for a reason, should PKs be held to a higher standard? And I asked this question based off the fact that our parents are held to a higher standard. And a lot of us feel like our parents are held to that higher standard, not only by just say the members of the church, but also by God. We would say that God holds these pastors and so on and so forth to a higher standard than they do just say the regular church going member. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't know what God feel about that. But we hold them to a higher standard. And so being that we are uh obviously I would say called according to his purpose and somehow, like, you know, I can't speak for everybody's father who's a pastor, but at least our three fathers who are pastors definitely were called to be pastors, definitely, you know, are walking in that truth. And so being the fact that God designated us to be their children, obviously we fall in line with their, just say, legacy, destiny, so on and so forth. So with that being said, and I'm not even saying should we be held to a higher standard because of perception or will people judge us and will we embarrass our parents? Not even so much that, like, but like even in the sight of God, if you will, like because our parents have that higher calling, does that automatically elevate us in whatever we do? Does that automatically elevate us as well? Absolutely.
That's your answer? Absolutely.
No, that's just my way of responding to you know, how deep of a question this is. Because well, go ahead. You got something?
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, because I mean, once again, the reason why I asked is because you think about, like, if your parents are answering like the calling for their life, regardless of whether they were the president of the United States or a pastor of a church, everything attached to them is going to automatically be under scrutiny. So from a human's perspective, I would get why if I was a pastor or the president, I would probably not want, you know, a video of, just say, of my child smoking weed somewhere, especially if they were like, now if they were grown, that's one thing, but I'm saying, like, if I had like a 16-year-old kid and they was on, you know, they posted a video on their Instagram with them smoking weed and I was a pastor or president, I would probably, you know, oh man, my image. It would, you know, more or less about that than it would be about, hey, you shouldn't be smoking weed. It would be more or less about my image. But what I'm saying is, let's take the image side of it away and let's put it in the responsibility that God has placed on these people, the mantle that God has placed on these people. Does that matriculate down to us? Does that make us now have to, you know, like, okay, I'll give this last example before one of y'all answer. Just say, like, so the other young adults in the church who they mama, daddy, they ain't nobody. They just, you know, as far as like they ain't got no role, no nothing. They just regular church go, whatever. They can get away with, just say, not inviting people to church or not representing, you know, just say Christ in some form or fashion. But you as the pastor child, like, is it more or less your responsibility, even if you're not at your dad's church, but because that you have that relationship with that anointing on this person, like, does that now qualify you to then have to up the ante in how you represent God? Like, should you not necessarily fuss somebody out, but, you know, should you go ahead and defend God if it's presented to you, or should you back off because nowadays we don't want to offend people with religion? You know what I'm saying? Because somebody who's a regular church member may can back off, but because you're a PK, does God look at us the same way he would look at if, just say, a pastor didn't respond to that type of call? You know, or should we be more selfless? Or should we, you know, should we go visit people in the hospital and pray for them? Being the fact that you're a PK, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. And I'm not saying, like, if that's what your thing is, you don't have to go to the hospital. But I'm just saying, all of these things that our parents are expected of, does any of that residue then come down on us to make us now have to live up to a higher calling than our peers?
So, short answer in what you just said, I would say no. I would say I think there's an expectation that that I have this direct connection, this direct alignment with this certain anointing, that I should know how to behave. I should know how to act. I should, you know, follow the Lord's law, or whatever. but I think that's, well, to the point of the name of the podcast, I think that's where you find the worst ones. One. Two, I think that there's a difference in a calling on my father and the calling on me. And so my father was the one that was called to ministry, to go to the hospitals and pray, and go to the homes and the sick and shut-ins and kiss babies and marry people and do funerals and all of those. Not my calling. And so I don't believe that just because my father is called, that I am called in that same way to do what he does. Now I am and I'll be honest, I think that we are all called to do something in ministry. I probably run from mine. I do, and just like honestly, I probably run from mine. So I do think that we do have a calling. I do think that we have an obligation to, the church, to our dads, to to our home churches or whatever. In terms of, am I held to the same standard as my father? And like you said, taking away the people's judgment, humans' judgment, taking that away and just looking at it from like from God's lens, I think that that's just a different standard. He understands that he has called Kevin and not Kellie.
Right.
And so even in the gifts that he has imparted on Kevin to be able to do what he does, he hasn't given to Kellie. So you can't expect the same thing. You can't hold me to that same standard because you haven't provided me with those gifts.
But so to that, so not even so much in reference to just say the doing of the gift, if you will, like, so not just, I don't want to make it seem like I'm asking just because he preaches you then have to get in the pulpit and preach. I don't mean should your life per se mirror his, but like, let's just say, like, if somebody's parent doesn't even go to church, right? I think just humans, I don't know, I'm not gonna speak for God, but I think humans would find it fair to say, like, if this kid also didn't go to church, nobody would really kind of bat an eye. But like, if you have a dad that's a pastor and you don't go to church at all, whether that's your business or not, people's eyes are gonna bat. You feel what I'm saying? Because of, so what I guess, so it's not so much necessarily like, should you have to do what he does at church, but even in that small scenario, like, do you think, and this could be, this has to be just a thought because we don't know. None of us, I'm not gonna try to make you speak for God, but do you think that, yes, God did not call you to do what your dad did, but do you think that because of him making that your dad, like, he didn't give you this dad for no reason, you know what I'm saying? Like, he made you a PK for a reason, for some reason. Now, whether that's for us to really be the worst one and be out here and be like, nah, we can show you that our daddies do this and we do that. Right. Maybe that's the point of this podcast. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, as a way of trying to even evaluate myself, not off people's perception, but even off of just say God's view on me and my responsibility, do I have some type of weight on me in reference to just say the glorification of God and whatever I do physically to do that? Does mine elevate because of who my father is? You know what I'm saying? Like, directly because of who my father is.
Right. I do think there's an expectation that you know better, you do better. And so, like you said, for the family that didn't go to church, for the parents that didn't go to church, for their child to not, in turn, when they get 18 on their own, go to church, wouldn't be like, oh, okay, Sasha didn't go to church because her dad didn't go to church, no big deal. I do think that there is a certain, right, better. And so you were clearly and directly taught the 10 commandments, the laws of the world, fornication, sexuality, you were taught that not in addition to the formal setting of church, but informally in your home, those things were kind of drilled into you. So I can see where one may think, not saying that I agree with it because I still don't think we should be, but I can see where one may think that because you had this direct connection in the home, that you should know better,
Right.
and you should do better.
Right.
And I agree. You talk about a preacher's kid that is the worst one that's out here doing whatever. Most people are going to gasp and say that doesn't align with who your father is, or who I thought that you should. I still got to read Sarah Jake Roberts' book, because I still really want to hear her story about having a baby and getting pregnant at a young age with such a phenomenal dad. You look at her and like, you out here having sex. How old was she? Was young, in her
14.
14, yeah. And right. And so you look at her like, man, I would have held you to a higher standard. For you to know that at 14, and I'm guessing she had consensual sex to have this baby. I'm guessing it wasn't like a non-consensual way.
To my knowledge, but I'm not going to speak on it because I don't know.
I don't know. I would assume that if that was the case, then it would be a totally different conversation. But assuming that it was a consensual sex situation, you would think, I'm sure she heard, God is disappointed with you. God is mad at you. You know better. Your dad is TD Jakes. I'm sure that, like I said, this is inspiring me I did buy one of her books. I don't know if it's one that explains this, but, or not. I may read it tonight, but, because I do think that we are thought to be held to a higher standard. Should we? And are we? Two different things.
Right.
But definitely, I know people looked at her at age 14 and said, "Oh no, baby, you knew better than that."
Right.
TD Jakes, the way
one of the biggest preachers in the world.
Period.
You know what I'm saying?
Period.
Yeah.
Right. Period. And you 14?
Yeah.
Not even 21, 22 grown. 14? And so I can see where there is an expectation that we should be held to a higher standard, that we should know better because of who our fathers are. But I think people also forget that our fathers have sinned and fallen short, that they have made mistakes as well.
Right.
Yeah, so should we? I say no. Are we?
Well, I'm gonna let Janessa go, but I got a question to that.
Well, Kellie said like a lot of the stuff. I would say 99.9% of what it's going to say. I agree. I think just even from a biblical standpoint, I don't know the scripture verbatim. Maybe it's in Jeremiah, the one that talks about for I have plans for you.
Jeremiah
29:11.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Come on, preachers, kids.
So that
somebody on the podcast need to know that.
About when I was in the womb, I knew you, or that one.
That one. Amen. Amen.
We'll get the scriptures for next week. But I just feel like.
Won't, but go ahead.
No, I feel like those scriptures speak to the individuality.
Jeremiah 1:5.
Thank you. Go check out that. But I think that's indicators of the Bible showing individuality. Like everybody has their own plan and a purpose for their life. So I agree with you, Kellie, that just because my dad is a pastor, that's the purpose God has for him. That does not mean that it's on me and I have to be held to the same standard as my father from like just the Bible standpoint. Now from like a human standpoint, I can see why, I can see how it's easy to just anybody to feel like, oh, pastor such and such daughter should know better or do better or shouldn't be doing those same things. And to your point, Kellie, about pastors being human too, sometimes I've been having this conversation, or I've been hearing this conversation, more, but I think this generation's more aware of, their mental health in general, and kind of unpacking things that maybe happen in their, earlier in life, and trying to really understand the root of issues and things like that. And, I think where our generation is, our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation, they probably never unpacked anything. They probably
Right.
have been holding on to the way things were done. Nobody questioned it, so they kind of lived through some traumas that never got addressed, never got healed. And, it's just kind of been passed on down, down, down. But now you get to our generation where we're kind of, you know, we're not just the type of people who are just going to go along to get along. Like, we're kind of
Right.
questioning things. And so I think that's another thing or another aspect that isn't really talked about. Our parents may have their own situations, issues, past hurts, unhealed trauma that translates in the way they raised us, that translates into the way we just are. And sometimes not like sometimes our parents miss the mark based off of just how they were raised. And so now when you kind of throw in, well, they should know better, and it's like, well, what if that's what they were taught? So now now it kind of gets more complex. Now it's like that Spider-Man meme where it's like all the Spider-Mans and they're pointing at each other like, whose fault is it or whatever. So I don't think we'll ever have like a clear-cut answer, but I don't think we should be held to the same standard as our pastor parents.
So I guess even to clarify a little
standard in comparison to other people, not
other more or less our peers, not so much because I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying higher standard or even as high of a standard as our parents, just more or less because they are our parents, and then bring it down to our world and our peers who just say also go to church or whatever it is they do. Like, even if they don't do, just say something that God may expect the everyday Christian to do, should are we just our own separate person? Because you think about this, if your dad was a quadrillionaire, we wouldn't want to be separate from that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we want to be in the loop with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, not necessarily having to do what he did to get it, but we definitely want to reap the benefit of our fathers being the quadrillionaire. So I feel like if we're talking about a God who is strategic, and maybe this goes back into the whole free will thing and all this, whatever. But if we're talking about a guy who knew you before you was born and all this other type of stuff, then obviously he knew who you was going to be born to, which is this pastor father. You feel me? And you didn't get one of the jackleg pastor fathers either. Like, there's people out here who have, you know what I'm saying? Like, they dad is a pastor, but ain't whether big ministry or small, it don't matter. But we were blessed with genuine guys, right? So I feel like there has to be some type of connection. Not that we have to mimic anything that they've done, but I feel like I ain't gonna say there has to be. I feel like there could be some type of, just say, purpose behind the lineage that we're a part of. And because of that then does raise the bar for us slightly, at least above, our peers. Because yes, if your dad is a dope dealer, yes, that kid can still become a pastor. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you have to become what your parent is. You know what I'm saying? But being the fact that we do have our dads who are this, I just kind of, it just made me look deeper into maybe there is something that, is beneficial to the kingdom that PKs could be doing that we may not even know that we're, kind of responsible for. And it goes back to something that you were saying earlier, Kelly, which I was saying I was going to ask the question about. Like, us serving our purpose and us representing God, like, do we have to do that sinless? Like, is there such thing as, like, working in the kingdom and you just being sinless? No. Because if that's the case, then I don't think any of us would ever get to a point of whatever. But I feel like if we kind of take a step back to the realization of it's not about not doing X, Y, B, Z. Like, we clearly get on here and say that we are preachers' kids, we love God, all these different things, and we all sit right here and do whatever thing, anything that would be considered sin to most people, regardless of how we feel about it. Maybe we're only doing a little bit. We're not really getting intoxicated, whatever. I be smoking weed. That's probably a sin. Whatever. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that we're not necessarily changing who we are to also say who we are, which are PKs. So you know what I'm saying. So I guess in that same mindset, does that, just kind of raise the bar. That's what I'm trying to find the best way to kind of articulate that. This.
And I don't know if I got you or not, but I feel like I feel like yes, it does raise the bar. The question is, should it?
For sure.
I don't know if it should, but it does.
And you think it does for who? For God or for people?
What? Both.
Right.
I can see it for both.
Okay.
I can see, and again, we can't look into God's mind, so we don't know, but I can see him having a higher expectation because Kellie, you know better, Kellie, you were taught better. Kellie, you have the ability to, go to your father and have these conversations that unfortunately, a lot of women, men aren't able to even go to a father to have a conversation.
For sure.
And so not only, and I don't even know if we've talked about the blessing in that. Not only are we able to have a father to go to, but to have a father of sound mind, to be able to go through and bounce life experiences and problems and things off of is one I thank God every night for, because I realize that most people don't have it. And so in God blessing me with this, and so to Janessa's point, I know the plans I had for you. I knew you when you were in the womb. I bless you, Kellie, Janessa, Rudy, Terry, with a father of sound mind, who is intentionally following me and doing what I've asked. And, like you are set apart. You are different. You are built different than your peers. Just on that alone.
Right.
And not even to brag or toot horns or, or whatever, but that is a blessing within itself. And so in that, I do think that, right, I can see where there may be a higher standard place because I've given you this thing that I haven't given other people in this father. Now, like I said, he's giving other people gifts and things and ministries that he hasn't given me, This is just one thing that he's given me that everybody may not have, but it's a lot of things that I envy that other people have that the Lord didn't give me, So I'm not saying that anybody is better because or whatever, because it's stuff that other people got that I want, that the Lord didn't bless me with. And I've wrestled with him for 33 years on, I don't understand why I didn't get that too.
Start with a man, God.
Followed by that singing career. What happened to Kellie's vocals?
I didn't even get the vocals. I didn't get the rhythm to dance. I think the Lord knew that I would be what? In the streets. So he said, no. You can't sing, you can't dance, you can't twerk. I'm gonna bless you with a little bit of body, but you ain't gonna be able to use it. So it was real purposeful. So, but no, I think that I can see from God's possible thoughts, where he may say, yes, I have set you apart because of this. But I also think that for me, that is where, and I'm gonna be real transparent, that is where some of my emotional, I don't want to use the word trauma, but my emotional concerns, issues come from. In that should I be set apart because my father is a pastor? And so what does my life look like because of that? So I think, like I said, so I see it both ways, which is why I'm like, I can see why I say no. We should not be held to a higher standard, but I can also understand and see why we should be held to a higher standard. So I see it both ways, but it's hard. And it may be that, yes, we should be held to a higher standard, but I don't want to be. So my answer is no. Because I want to go do what everybody else is doing.
Right. But to that point, because even me listening to you talk, most of the time when people are running from something or not wanting to do something, that means we're supposed to be doing it. You know what I'm saying? So like us not wanting that higher calling, because us as PKs, like we want to be totally separate. Like, nah, that's that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's him. Y'all look at him for him and look at me for me.
Right. Which,
number one, it'll hardly ever happen, especially the bigger of a brand that your dad is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about whoever, not just your dad, but the Bishop Jake's kids, Noel Jones. Well, he don't got no kids, but whoever, you know what I'm saying? All these different people, if they got kids and if that's your dad, you're going to automatically get, especially the bigger the brand. Just like if if your dad was a comedian that was big or the president, whoever, it comes with the territory. But as a pastor, pastor's kid, I think I do think that it is and probably even should be just say a higher expectation. But what I don't know if I say struggle with, but what I question is because we do have that separate entity, because like I am the pastor's kid. So, you know what I'm saying? So there is a separation because I am not the pastor. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Because I feel like I'm about to word this really, really wrong. But like almost kind of like if you, like, are we allowed, because as the pastor's kid, does that then make you allowed to just say minister as you live in sin openly? Because think about this. I don't give a damn who your daddy is, okay? And none of our daddy's perfect. Now, are they doing any type of, big sin? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But all pastors are definitely operating in pastoralship while also simultaneously being a sinner. Mm-hmm. The only difference is they can't expose their sin. We can expose ours, right? Because we are the pastor's kid. So that's what. So with that being said, I think that there's a chance that we can just say take on that extra responsibility, but just not have to then take on the perfect appearance that our pastor fathers and whoever they are, TD Jakes, whoever. We don't have, because they have to present themselves as perfect, even though they're not.
Right. But I don't know if I agree. I understand what you're saying. I don't know if I agree in the sense of, and I know we were talking about two different things in terms of how God sees us and how the people sees us. Mm. And so in terms of us being preachers' kids and exposing our sins, I still think that there's an expectation that you don't, and I think that this is something that through all 41 episodes of this thing that we know that Kellie struggles with. I think that I have been freed in some instances in terms of going through this journey of this podcast, but not completely. But but even saying, we can expose our sins. Now, yes, I can go out to, a restaurant and have a drink, without judgment, and my father, doesn't. Right. But I also always didn't be that person. There was a time where I didn't go out and drink. There was a time where I didn't go to the liquor store in the area in which we lived in, because I didn't want people to say, oh, there goes PK's daughter in the liquor store. Oh, you see Kellie? She was buying a bottle of whatever, and so there was a time where I held all of that. Like I said, at this point, especially as it comes to drinking, I'm like, whatever. Right. But I think that, like I said, for the people, for the congregation, and like I said, and I think it comes with age, it comes with I guess maturity, it comes with independence, it comes with understanding and knowing who you are and being comfortable with that, where you can separate yourself from what the church thinks or feels. But I do think that there's a space where it's difficult to not to expose your sins, which again, I think that's where you get the worst ones, because you get those, because there are some preachers kids that then want to go all the way left
Right.
and let me rebel. I would love to get one of those like super rebellious preachers kids on here one day. Like,
Harry. No, I'm just kidding.
we already have one.
Right.
He's just missing today. We just don't have his input today. But yeah, who I'm gonna go all the way left, because I don't want you to associate me with my dad. I think at least for the three of us, I feel like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that we do our own things. Rudy smokes his weed and we drink and whatever. But there's still amount of reverence that we have for our fathers that are like, I'm not gonna take it too far left. I'm comfortable here. Maybe not Rudy.
I might be too far left already.
What else you doing? Kellie, me and you on the same path together, holding
right.
The reason why I say that is because I don't be out here wilding but that's just because that's just not me. But I'm saying, but like anything that you ever see me do on social media, that's just me. I do that in the privacy of my own home or whatever. So I'm saying I'm not doing anything outside of that. But I'm definitely I don't think in my mind I don't have anything that I have hidden still. And there was a certain point, like as I was doing comedy and stuff, whatever like that, like I was slowly revealing, like sides that I was scared for people to see or whatever. But I'm saying, the reason why I say I'm all the way left is because I'm definitely past that point. But I'm just also not a wild person, so I just don't be out here doing the wild.
So then maybe that's what I'm speaking to. That it's just not even in you to be, to be
maybe
wild.
How I was raised, I don't know.
In a space that's disrespectful. But I can see people coming to your comedy shows. I remember the first time, and taking it away even that your dad's a pastor. I remember coming to your comedy show and looking back like, wasn't your mama back there? Wasn't she the one who took my money? And Rudy out here talking like this, and so right, like I said, there's a level of maturity and comfortability with yourself, and this is just who I am, and I'm a curse, and and talk about explicit things or whatever, with my parents.
But just to be clear, I don't just sit and talk with my mom and just be like, yeah, mom, I'm tired of these bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like when I'm talking to my mom, I don't, if I happen to use profanity, she wouldn't be upset, but I don't use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just have conversation. But if I'm on stage and you at my show, you just gonna get what everybody else get. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna.
Okay. Right. So the first time that and we may or may not have talked about this before, but the first time that your parents saw you in your true Rudy comedian form, when you guys talked about it afterwards, or if you guys talked about it afterwards, what was their response as? And I know your mom isn't a pastor, isn't a preacher, but definitely a woman in ministry. What was what were their thoughts?
My dad has never said anything. He's never cared. He's never cared, at least openly. If he did, he never said it to me. But like anytime he's ever seen me, like he laughed. He told me because he always be like ducked off at my shows, so he'll always like tell me about people who who he was sitting around who thought I was funny and whatever. He may give me like pointers on like how to tell stories or whatever like that. But he's never said anything about anything.
Right.
Anything.
Okay.
My mom, she has said things, but it's I don't know if she ever came from just say the perspective of embarrassing her or something like that. It was just kind of more or less like, I think my mom is a very sensitive person for one. So then I think maybe it was the Christianity thing, maybe just seeing your child, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause in her mind, I'm still, little Rudy, I'm here, you know what I'm saying? So you see your child, you know what I'm saying certain stuff or whatever, it may be kind of like, taken aback for a second. But, it's just like when she first seen me playing football when I was 6, it was something for her to kind of just get used to me. Now, neither one of them say anything, but yeah, there was never any deep conversation in reference to you need to stop. You know what I'm saying? But my mom definitely has expressed like, oh, do you have to curse so much? You know, I've had those conversations. Do you gotta smoke weed on camera? You know, we've had those type of conversations. I just be like, Mom.
And like I said, and it may not even equate to the fact that your father is a pastor. But it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you as her son, she holds you to a different standard.
She definitely does.
You know, right? You shouldn't curse so much.
I mean, I also used to preach. I mean, so that's
right. And you know, if you're gonna smoke, you shouldn't smoke on camera. You know,
it's kind of like you do realize how you're gonna look when you post this.
Right. Right. We need on the Facebook page, not Facebook page. What do we have? An Instagram page. I need you to send us one of your old sermons, a clip of one of your old sermons to post up there. I think that would be fun to watch.
Give us somewhere. I don't know.
Go find it. Give us some Pastor Rudy.
Preacher
and then
Rudy.
One day we'll let you do a mini sermon.
I was sending in too, guys.
We know they all do.
I was sending in too, guys. I just was hiding it like the rest of them.
They all do.
I was sending too, and there were sins my mama knew about.
And
we had conversations about it, but I'm saying she didn't blast me for it or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? But but I will say this as we close. Going to the whole expectation, I did have this conversation with my mom, and she listens to the podcast, so it's not even like I'm talking behind her back or nothing. I remember when she was kind of having the conversation with me about cussing and whatever it was about the stuff I was posting, whatever. And I remember telling her to some degree, like, the only reason you're saying this to me is because I am your preacher child. If this was your daughter, you wouldn't be saying anything. And the reason why I know this is because we've had conversations about when your daughter has used profanity in different scenarios. And there was never a time that she was ever reprimanded for this or anything. It was just, this is what Risa said. Blah, 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 blah. It was all fun and games. But come to me, now all of a sudden, we got to shut the show down. No. We're going to be even Steven. If you say something to me, you say something to both of us.
Nope. Because not only are you a preacher's kid, you were a preacher. So that is
still am. I still preach. They just don't want me no more because I cuss and smoke.
The cursing preacher. Okay, so that you are a preacher, you are not only a preacher's kid, you are a preacher. So you are held to a higher standard. Your sister is not a preacher.
She's a preacher's kid and she's a Christian.
She is a Christian and she is a preacher's kid that uses profanity. How many preacher's kids using profanity? I don't. I think that
you're a preacher's kid who lies. That's what you're.
I do not.
You're a preacher's kid who lies. Gotcha. That's much better.
Y'all are on fire today.
Cover one sin with another. Gotcha. That's how we do it.
To have such words coming out of your mouth is just no.
All right, Kelly, let's do the
church. So follow us on the worst ones, PK. We're gonna cut out that one clip there and put that one on there. But at the worst ones, PK on Instagram. You can listen to us. Watch us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, be it Spotify, Apple Music. We are there. Make sure that you type in the Worst Ones podcast and you will find us. And when you get there, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share. As always, we are so thankful for those 500 million followers.
Amen.
We are still stuck at 500 million followers.
Amen.
Still trying to get the 500 million in one.
Amen.
So like, comment, subscribe, share. When you get to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, go over to Instagram. Come check us out over there. We got some nice pictures of the host.
3 of them, at least.
The host.
Right. Someone's missing.
Like, comment, and subscribe. The one whose Instagram is blocked.
Speaking of,
Y'all go follow Kellie.
speaking of Princess Kells 51.
So Princess Kells 51 is where you can find me. If you actually want to see me, that may not happen, but you can definitely find me at Princess Kells 51.
Gotcha.
Come check us
right.
out.
Well, you can find me at Melanated Brews for all things coffee, tea, and beer. Last week I went to, I think it's called Daily Dose Coffee, and I am sold, y'all. The vanilla honey oat. Was it the vanilla honey oat latte? Yeah. Ice.
Fire.
Try it, y'all. Oh my gosh. I mean anywhere, like the combination hits, it slaps. Try it. But yeah, follow me there at Melanated Brews, and you can find me on my personal page at JRihanna _. Unlike Kellie's, my page is public, so you can come see me.
Maybe later.
At the podcast official page, we just shot another episode this past Monday. The Fragile Male Ego.
How was it?
Went well. Definitely went different than I expected.
Really?
Yeah, in a good way. I thought it was gonna be more, beef and drama. Like, oh man, these niggas out here sensitive. Wasn't that at all? It was more of a therapy session.
Okay,
Yeah.
So how do we go back and listen to it?
At the podcast official page on all social medias. We post it on YouTube. We post clips on the Instagram. And there's also an extra segment called Words of Wisdom that me and my father, who is the creator of the podcast, we do. We basically just talk about, we just kind of recap the episode that was just shot that month. So check it all out. Yeah. We're going to be posting it at the podcast official page. Just like with the Worst Ones podcast, please type in the full name, the podcast official page, because if you type in just the podcast, you will not find us. Well, it'll take you a long time. You'll find us, but it'll be with a bunch of other podcasts. And then, of course, we got Terry Wayne Comedy. Please follow him. Go to his shows. Support him. All that jazz. All righty. And we thank you guys, as always, for watching, listening, viewing, whatever it is that you do with this podcast. Most of all, please share it. Sharing is caring. And the more you share, more people will care about this podcast. Amen. So please share it. Don't just listen to it and be selfish. Let the folk know where we at. You feel me? Until next time, we out.
Top of the world. Top of the world.